Good evening. Welcome back to our Old Testament studies. Here in Genesis chapter 27. We quit at verse 30 the other day. I got my props with me. It's one of my props I have everywhere I go for the last year. Are you getting tired of these yet? Boy, I am. These, because this and this. Temperature. Cover your mask. But everywhere I turned in my Bible lately, it seems like, if you're studying with us on Wednesday night's New Testament class or Sunday evening's Old Testament class, I keep running across this verse that's very encouraging to me. And it's the first five words of the text tonight. Verse 30 from the 27th chapter of Genesis. And it came to pass. I keep telling myself and telling other people this COVID stuff's going to come to pass. And we're seeing the light getting very bright toward the end of the tunnel. Talked about it this morning. If you want to go back and watch that, I think that possibly by the middle of June, we can go back to life much like normal, like we used to know it. It's a year ago this Sunday, I believe, we shut the church down for 11 weeks to flatten the curve. And now we just limped along ever since. But we're getting there. We're getting there. 27:30 of Genesis. Remember where we were at. Jacob has went in and tied the animal skins on his arms and his neck. His mama's in with him on this too, because daddy's about plumb blind. And he goes in and he deceives his daddy into pronouncing the blessing upon him instead of the firstborn, Esau. And it was prophesied about this. God said it'd be like that way even before the twins were born, that the elder would serve the younger. And, well, it just came about in a very deceitful way that it was stolen. Esau had done sold his birthright. Now Jacob's stolen his blessing too. And you can imagine how Esau, he ain't going to like this, is he? But let's pick up right there, verse 30. It came to pass as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, just as soon as he got done, and Jacob was yet scarce gone from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau, his brother, came in from his hunting. Remember, he'd went out to kill a deer and get some venison and bring it and make deer chili or stew or something for his daddy. But his mama and Jacob in cahoots, she had made a goat stew and made it taste like his venison that he liked and everything. So it was all part of the deceit while Esau's out actually hunting, trying to get the deer. And verse 31, Esau comes back with the venison. He made a savory meat. He brought it to his father and said to his father, Let my father arise and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who are you? You just left here, didn't you? I just blessed you. Who art thou? And he said, I'm thy son, thy firstborn, Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly. He just realized something has just happened and he's part of it, and he's given the blessing to the wrong one, and it was seen as being a legally binding thing as he spoke the blessing on him. And he said, I can't take it back now. And by the way, did you know you've got that same power? You can either bless or you can curse. And every time you open your mouth, that's kind of what happens. You're either blessing to somebody or you're cursing to somebody. There's a lot of power in your words, and you really can't take them back either. Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, Who are thee? Where is he that's taken venison and brought it to me? And I've eaten of it all before you came, and I've blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry. And he said to his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Isaac said, Your brother came with subtlety and has taken away your blessing. Now, when you see that word subtlety in the Bible, or just hear it out in the regular use of the term too, it always makes me think of the devil, because it says the devil was more subtle than any beast of the field. That's where we first meet the devil back in early Genesis chapter 3 or so. And he's more subtle than it ain't wide open. I've always said that if the devil made sin look the way that God sees sin, if we could see it like that, we probably wouldn't sin. We would be so repulsed of it the temptation would just go away. We'd realize just what an ugly, nasty, horrible thing that sin is. But he always paints a pretty picture with it, right? He's got a subtle way of drawing you into that temptation. And you know what'll happen, boy? The devil subtly will draw you into that temptation, and he'll take away your blessing. God had a blessing for you, and the devil's done went and messed it. Don't let him do it. Here's the good thing about that. The devil can't do it unless you let him do it. So watch out for him. He's subtle. He ain't wide open. He's subtle, and he gets you into them gray area kind of thinking. And he said, is he not rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. Esau said, I think Jacob means a supplanter. He supplanted me. He's stolen stuff from me 2 times. He took away my birthright, which he didn't really steal that. Esau despised it and traded it for a bowl of chili himself, remember? And behold, now he's taken away my blessing. And he said to Isaac, Esau's talking to Isaac, hast you not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I've made him thy Lord. In this case, Lord means his boss. I've made him your boss. You're going to be his servant. And all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine I've sustained him. And what shall I do now to thee, my son? Verse 38, Esau said to his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? She's just got a little one for me. Bless me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, your dwelling will be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live. In other words, you're going to fight for it, but I've got a blessing for you. And you'll serve your brother. But there's a little bit of good news on the end of that blessing now. It says it'll come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that you'll break his yoke from off your neck. Now, you've got to stay tuned in Genesis, and we'll find out how that happens. And it don't happen by the sword. I'll go ahead and give you a hint. When both the boys grow up for a while, and the thing, you'll figure. But right now, boy, it ain't the right time, because verse 41 says Esau hated Jacob, and that wasn't no understatement. He really hated him. He purposed in his heart. He had murder in his heart. He was going to kill his brother. Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. In other words, he says, Daddy ain't got long. But when Daddy's gone, I'll let him live. But when Daddy goes to the grave, I'm going to kill my brother, put him in the grave also. And he meant that, didn't he? Now, it took decades, but guess what? Stay tuned. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. Somebody heard what he said, and they went and told Mama that Esau's going to kill Jacob. You better intervene here, Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said to him, behold, your brother Esau, as touching thee, does comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. The only comfort he's got right now is he keeps telling himself, I'm going to kill that boy. As soon as Daddy's gone, I'm going to kill that brother of mine. And that's his way of comforting himself. I'm going to kill him. He's got his coming. So Mama said to Jacob, now therefore, my son, obey my voice and arise, run. Flee to Laban, my brother in Haran. Now remember, we've met old Uncle Laban down there before, way back when Abraham's servant went down to find Rebekah, who he brought back for Isaac. And now this is their children. So she says, you need to go down there and stay with my brother for a little while, way down there in Haran, till Esau cools off a little bit, or he's going to kill you. And tarry with him a few days. You just stay a few days and let him get over this. Now, remember, I'm telling you what's ahead in the Bible here. He's going to be down there for 20-something years. He went down there just planning on staying a few days. And that's what Mama thought too. He'll kill, but man, these decades go by. And we're going to read a bunch of these decades in the next few chapters and see it's going to focus on Jacob and how he grows up. And it's kind of humorous, but Jacob gets his too. He brings a lot of this. You can call it karma if you want. The Bible says a man will reap what he sows, and kind of stuff he's been sowing up here is going to come back and haunt him down there, and he's going to go through some stuff. He's going to get wronged a lot of times too, because he may be a deceiver and a supplanter himself, but he ain't no match for Uncle Laban. He's been around doing it for a long time, and he's living with him down there. But remember, he went for a few days, and he was there for decades. He goes through all this kind of stuff, and there's that principle. Once again, I'll repeat it this week, that sin will take you farther than you meant to go, and sin will cost you more than you wanted to pay, and sin will keep you longer than you meant to stay. It's a principle that's all through the Bible, and it's just through life too. You can mark that. Sin will take you farther than you meant to go. It'll cost you more than you wanted to pay, and it'll keep you longer than you wanted to stay there. So go to Laban, she says, tarry with him a few days until your brother's fury turn away. Verse 45, until your brother's anger turn away from thee, and he forget that which you've done to him. In other words, Mama says in a few days he'll forget about, it ain't going to happen. Then I'll send and fetch you from thence. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? If he kills you, it was like losing two sons. And Rebekah said to Isaac, her husband, the daddy of these boys, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. Now, really, she's kind of sick of life because of all the sin and deceit that's swirling around in her family. But it wouldn't help none by them two girls that Esau had done married. Remember, he married them Hittite girls, the daughters of Heth, and they were a grief to Isaac and Rebekah. And I said before, I said, now, Christian boy, Christian girl, don't you marry somebody that is not a Christian. Don't you think you can change them after you get married? You know, it don't work that way. They'll probably change you instead of the other way. But you find you a good godly girl or good godly boy, whichever the case may be, and that's who you want to marry, because I'll say it again, if you marry a child of the devil, you're going to have trouble with your father-in-law. So keep that in mind. I'm weary of life, Mama said, because of them daughter-in-laws of mine. And if Jacob takes a wife of them daughters of Heth, now she's telling Isaac this, that I don't want him standing up here. That's why she's explaining why he's away, going away. I don't want him to marry these girls up here. I'm sending him down to Haran, you know, where your daddy went and sent somebody and found me for you. It's a good story, a little bit of truth to it too, but she's deceiving it too, ain't it? If Jacob take a wife of them daughters of Heth, such as these, which are the daughters of the land, what good will my life do to me? All right, we'll pick up there chapter 28 next week, study on in the Genesis and go over what we've talked about. God bless you.